Hi, welcome to the Platinum Kitchen. My name is Andrew Clark and I get to share with you the features and benefits of Professional Platinum cookware. So let's get started. Professional Platinum, the company, was started back in 1979 and we ship around the world. I want to share with you the features and benefits of the Professional Platinum cookware line. So let's start at the very top. Right here is our Professional Platinum Temp Alert. Now this is all made in Italy and comes with a lifetime guarantee. Right here we have what's called our heat shield, which is right here. And what this does, this stops the heat transfer from going into the knob. Now why is that important? Because you've been in the kitchen and if you've had something boiling or preheating or warming up and you've come over to grab that knob and all of a sudden it's hot, that's not real safe. This right here will always stay room temperature. And no matter how hot this unit gets, if you put your finger right here on the heat shield, it might just be a little bit warm, and that tells you it's doing its job. It's deflecting the heat away from the Temp Alert knob. Now this knob right here and how this works, you put anything in any of our units, doesn't matter what you're cooking, fresh potatoes, fresh carrots, fresh broccoli, fresh Brussels sprouts, no water. You just put it in here, doesn't matter what you're cooking, you put the lid on, you turn the stove to medium. Right here on our Temp Alert, we have a gauge that once you see the gauge beginning to rise up and it reaches 60. Once it reaches 60, you reduce the heat to low. Now I want to tell you, this gauge works 100% of the time. It will always work. Even if you want to preheat the unit, if you want to do a steak or you want to fry some chicken, what you can do is you turn your stove onto medium, you leave the lid on, and once the gauge reaches 40, once it reaches 40, that tells you that the unit is ready and it's preheated for you to fry. A few other things about the lid. One of the things that you're going to notice is that there's no valves, anything that jumps up and down or whistles at you or anything like that. That is exactly what you don't want. The reason is you always want to be cooking in a totally sealed container. Some of the other ones that are out there that you'll see, they might have a valve or a steam vent of some kind. And they tell you to cook on medium, and when the steam begins to evaporate or the valve begins to go up and down, what that is, that's moisture leaving what you're cooking. What's in that moisture? Vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. So one thing you always want to have is a totally sealed container. One thing that we have done in 2023, just last year, is we had an independent nutrition laboratory prove for us that when you use Platinum, it increases the nutritional retention of your fruits and vegetables by over 70% increase in your vitamins, minerals, and nutrients in your food. And it retains on average between 93 to 96% of all the goodness. That's why everyone is beginning to see the benefits or recognizing the benefits of Professional Platinum cookware. A few other things about the lid is that you know that with other types out there, you take the lid if you're cooking anything, a soup, a stew, or vegetables, and you take the lid off and you go like this. What is all up here? It's all the condensation, it's all the moisture. And the moisture then runs down and it goes onto the counter. And you gotta clean it up. Well, what we have done with our Professional Platinum lids is that when you take the lid off and all the moisture here, all the water runs down and we have a built-in water reservoir. So all the water runs down, but it stays inside the lid. Now, that might be a small thing, but I tell you what, it keeps your counters clean. So important that it does that. Also with our lids, if you want to add any ingredients or you want to stir anything, you just take the lid off and it goes right inside of the handle, and this is our cradle feature, and you can stir, you can add your ingredients, and of course it even works on the other side too. After you finish preparing something on the stove, if you want to come over to your table and you bring it off your stove and over to your table, what do you begin to look for? A hot pad or a trivet. No need to worry. Professional Platinum has thought of everything right here. there is your trivet. And it's strong and it is sturdy, and you can serve right out of it. The reason is because of our oversized knob. It makes it safe. Okay? The other thing about the lid, and this is something that's so important that you always want to ask, is what is the material of the lid that you're using? With Professional Platinum, our core, our inside, and our lids are all made out of the exact same material. It's a 304 titanium with our platinum exclusive polish. Now, we are one of the only companies in the world that uses that technique. So one of this, you always want to ask, what grade or what type of metal are you using on your lids? Now, some people might even say, oh, that doesn't matter. You don't cook on your lids. Well, hang on a minute. All the food that you're preparing in here, all the moisture, everything, where does it go? It goes and it touches the surface here. Do you want that to be the highest grade available in lids, or do you want it to be a low grade? There's some out there that use a really inexpensive grade, like 200 series, or I don't even actually know if that's considered to be food grade. And again, some people will say, well, it doesn't matter because the food's not touching the lid. But it is, because all of the condensation and the moisture, and if you're doing a spaghetti sauce or anything, we all see that it rises up to the lid, and what does that condensation do when it's cooking? It rises up and it falls back into the food. So it's very important that you know what kind of material that your lids are made out of. And I want to tell you, our entire unit, from the bottom to the inside to the top to the lids, everything is made out of a high-grade steel. And that is so important. And ladies and gentlemen, that's only the lid. Next, what I'm going to share here with you is right here we have our driplets, our true dripless pouring edge. So no matter how big, this is our 2-quart. If you use our 4-quart, if you use our 20-quart, if you use anything and you want to pour anything out of it, this is a true dripless pouring edge, and nothing goes down the side of the pan and nothing goes onto the counter. Again, some people will say, well, that's a small thing, but I tell you what, it helps to keep your counters clean. On the inside here, we have, if you can see that reflection, and on the inside we have our platinum exclusive polishing. Now, we are one of the only companies in the world that chooses to do this. The reason is because it's very expensive. It adds a significant cost to the manufacturing of Professional Platinum. But what we have found through third-party professionals, metallurgists, metal companies, metal manufacturers, they all say this is what you need for food preparation. The reason, what all of them say, is 2 reasons. The first one, it's non-corrosive. It's non-corrosive. So guess what? If you cook with a little bit of salt or anything like that, it's okay. The reason? Because you have the platinum exclusive polishing. And then the second reason is because it's non-reactive. And again, this is not me saying this. This is third-party metal manufacturers and metal specialty places that they tell you, you've got to have the platinum exclusive polish. You have to have that mirror finish because of 2 reasons. Non-corrosive and non-reactive. Non-reactive, that means that the surface will not react with your food. Now, how important is that? Well, it's vital. What you put into Professional Platinum is exactly what comes back out and nothing else. It's so important that you have that high mirror Professional Platinum finish. A little test that you can do with, and we know that there's other brands out there that aren't nearly as good as this, because we always like to say that, you know what, platinum is not the best, it's better than the best. And that's the truth. So on the inside, if you take any other types that are out there, you take your fingers and you go on the inside and you just rub your fingers on the inside. What you're going to feel, it's going to feel rough. It's going to feel like a rough finish. On the inside, it's a very, very dull finish with the other types of brands that are out there. It's a very dull finish. Some people call it a dry finish, D-R-Y, a dry finish stainless steel, or sometimes it's called brushed. And that's what all the other manufacturers use. And you want to know something? That is the cheapest way to polish metal. Again, that's not my opinion, that's a fact. So from metal manufacturers and metal companies, they say the dry finish or the brushed finish on the inside when it's dull, and you can see all of the swirl marks. You see all the swirl marks from the polishing. They say that's the cheapest way to polish metal. But what we have chosen to do with our platinum exclusive polishing is the most expensive way to polish metal. Again, 2 reasons: non-corrosive, non-reactive. And that is what is so important. And when you run your fingers along these other ones and it's rough on the bottom, you take your fingers and you run it across the inside of Professional Platinum, it feels like glass. It is so smooth. You can't, it's just so smooth in here. Now, what does that mean for you? Those two things, again, non-corrosive, non-reactive, but easy to clean. It makes the cleanup a dream in the kitchen. No hard scrubbing. You don't need those stainless steel scrubbers in there. It's easy to keep clean. The other key aspect of Professional Platinum is actually on the bottom. And this is our 24-element design, and it's called our Nutri-Thermic base. Now, this is the thickest pan on the market today. Now, one of the things that you do want to look for, and I didn't know this before I saw the benefits of it, you want a thick base on the bottom of your system. The reason is because where's the heat source? Where is the heat source? Well, the heat source is where? It's on the bottom. This is where your gas stove is. This is where your electric burners are. This is where your, any stove that you're using. This is where the heat source is. You want something that is thick. 24-element design with our Nutri-Thermic base. This is what you want. The reason is that that will absorb the heat and distribute the heat across the bottom and up the sides. All the other companies out there, they use a paper thin layer, paper thin across the bottom. It's so paper thin that the number one complaint with all those other companies, the number one complaint from all the customers is that they say, all my food is burning. All my food burns because it's so paper thin. Most of them, some of them are even 3-ply. Now, they used to be 7-ply, 5-ply, or 7-ply, but then they've taken away layers of it's down to 3-ply. Again, it's paper thin. So the number one complaint from customers, all my food is burning. The number one thing that our customers say, and our customers nickname Professional Platinum the most user-friendly cookware on the planet, because all my food burning, we don't hear it. It's so easy to clean, and it has a very strong, thick bottom that distributes the heat across the bottom and up the sides. Yes, you can bake bread in here. Yes, you can bake cakes in here. Yes, we cook with no water, and yes, we cook with no grease or oils. And we put all of that and we stamp it right into the bottom of our unit. It says right here, lifetime guarantee, period. Now again, we're one of the only companies in the world that offers a true lifetime guarantee. And the reason why we do that is so everyone who joins up with us as consultants and our dealers, they can feel confident, they can feel comfortable that they're telling the truth about Professional Platinum. They're telling the truth, and that gives people confidence. Ours has a lifetime guarantee. Now you might be thinking, well, other ones have a lifetime guarantee. Well, other ones, they put a word in front of it, and it's called limited. And they say limited lifetime warranty. Now the key word there is limited. Well, you want to ask, okay, what's limited? What is limited? Well, the first thing that's usually limited is they tell you that if the pan begins to warp, and what they say is you use too much heat. The customer used too much heat, and the pan, when you put it onto your burner, if you have a skillet, and it kind of rocks a little bit. It kind of rocks. It doesn't sit flat. That means the pan is warped. And when your pan gets warped, it's not going to work nearly as well. The heat distribution is not going to be there. And frankly, it could even be a little bit unsafe when you have a warped pan that stays on your counter. So that's why with those 3-ply, super thin layer, those ones, over time, they all warp. So guess what they put into their warranty, their limited lifetime warranty? They say if the pan warps, they say it's your fault. It's the customer's fault. They also say if it gets pits. Now, if it gets pits in the metal, you know what that is? It's corrosion. And that means they say, oh, well, you were cooking with salt. You're cooking with salt and it begins to pit. Whoa, that tells you something about the metal, doesn't it? And they write it right in there. They say, we're not going to warranty it. There's no warranty. If there's any pits in the metal, it's your fault. It's the salesperson's fault. It's the dealer's fault, or it's the customer's fault. It's the customer's fault for cooking with a little bit of salt. They also tell you that if the metal begins to flake, if the metal begins to come off, you know what they say? It's your fault. No warranty. It's your fault. It's the customer's fault. It's the consultant's fault. You want to know what we don't have in ours? The word limited. We stamp it right on the bottom, lifetime guarantee, and that is important. Our metal comes from the same metal manufacturers that almost everyone else uses. And our knobs are made in Italy. Some of our handles come from Germany. So you know what? Professional Platinum uses global material to make its product. So I hope that helps a little bit with how it works and some of the features and benefits for you to understand why everyone is saying this is the most user-friendly cookware on the planet. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.